Okay, I'm coming up. Here's our next hole, and then after that, then we're going to be starting our next hole past center. There's where we started, and you can see the numbers are 98, 89, and 78, and they go on down. That's the whole circles, and that's how they label them. All right, so we come off of the break, we go ahead and we engage into that one. Now we're going to start, and it's going to be the second hole past each of the colors. Once we go to there, we go to the next 5, it'll be down here, and then it'll be down there, and it'll be the second hole past the colored hole. And there we go. Okay, we're coming to the end of this next cut, and then our pin is going to come up here, and this is the last hole before we hit top dead center again, where we'll be 2 after the hole. Then once we make this pin jump, we'll be coming, we'll actually be 1 hole before the color, and then we'll be going around to the tune of that tune, which will be 4 spaces. And then when we come around to that position there, we'll be skipping to another. So we have 5 different combinations of going around here. The first time around we're going every 5. We're still going every 5, but it's on every 5th hole on the spot. And then as we continue around each of the 1/5 of the rotation around the main part, we're doing 1 trip around this dial. So now we're going to be picking up the hole before the color all the way around. So you can see it, you stare at the hole, you put the thing, you line it up, you're good. There we go. Okay, we're getting ready to shift into our next one. This is the last hole before we get up to the center again, and then we'll be starting the third revolution around this after our initial one, and we'll have 1 more to go after this. Alright, so we loosen that off and we shift this on over here, and now it's the first hole past the color. We were on the hole before the color, and next time around we'll be coming around 1 more oddball time, and when we come back up we'll be ending up on that hole there. So we still got 2 full revolutions to go around this, and we're going to be following this location here. So we'll be following the hole past the color on each one of these as we go around. Okay, this is going to be the last tooth here before we start the last revolution. And this one here will complete 4/5 of the gear, because each time we go around, that's 1/5. There's 5 full revolutions to make 78 teeth all the way around here, or 78 valleys. And I went ahead and I marked the valley with Sharpie here, so that once we did get down there, it would be color coded and we would know exactly top dead center, and in the center hole would be that position right there, and we could easily rotate it around to our cutter or back or forth or whatever we're going to check. Because once we get down there, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to shoot to try to do this gear in 2 passes. This pass here of 100 thousandths, and then we'll take it in, we'll take it down to the depth that it's going, and we're going to take the first 2 teeth, and we'll be able to bring those 2 teeth up, and we'll take the gear tooth veneer calipers and measure the tooth and make our decision to go with that revolution or what we're going to do from there. All right, so the advancement takes it to 3 teeth up from the center here, and I'll bring you over to show you that, and we'll go ahead and start cutting this tooth here. Okay, we're in a position, we're cutting our last tooth, and the first run around, you can see there's the colored, there's the center pin, and we have 1, 2, 3. So the third hole past each of the colors. So the next hole after that will be there. And when it comes all the way back up, we'll be ending up in that center hole once again, and we should be lined up with our very first cut. We always give it a visual as we're rotating it around. 1, 2, 3. Another 15 teeth. Okay, here we go. Last rotation. Boom. We came back up to 0 on our top here for our next hole. And here we go. This is putting in the golden rivet right here. to the pinhole plate. Alright, loosen off the brake, and we pull the pin and we come right on up to top dead center, and now we're ready to go around for our second pass. Alright, we're going to take some measurements, and then we're going to come back to this location and create a finished depth in 1 or 2 teeth, and we'll go about measuring those and setting that up, and then we'll start our second pass around, which should complete this gear, is our attempted plan anyway. Okay, we want to establish the finished depth. In the book it actually states that 16 pitch, 0.1348, almost 135, is the full working depth. And I am measuring across the 2 teeth. Now I know we're measuring straight across, so we're losing some of the actual height. The height has got to be figured in with the radius if you want to get nitpicky right to the end. But I'm just going to go ahead, and I'm getting down in here, and I'm getting like 130, 131. I get 132. I've tried this in a couple different spots. I know that this gear is old, and somebody had rebrazed this, so they probably polished a little bit on the outside of the teeth. But I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I'm measuring right now, and I took a 100 thousandths after I touched off, and I got like 97, 98. I'm just under 100 as far as my measurement across those 2 flats. So I'm going to go ahead and crank in. We're 97, and we got like 123, 124. So I'm going to crank in. I'm going to crank in 26 thousandths. I'm going to try to match this gear as far as the depth. This gear match the depth to this with 2 roots, so that I can measure with my veneer tooth calipers the proper width of the tooth that we're going to have established, and then compare that to these worn teeth here as well, and what the book actually calls out. And I'll make up my mind or my decision on whether we're going to let that fly for the whole gear, or am I going to go ahead and take another little bit of depth and create a little narrower tooth. The deeper you go with your cutter, of course, the depth increases. All right. The book actually calls out 134 and 8/10 or so. The sample is like 124. Right now we're about 97. But we have plenty of room to get down to even match what the book says, or even match what the gear says now. But the farther down you go, the narrower your tooth gets. At that depth that this is right now, I put this on here, and we're right close to 100, maybe 102, 103 thousandths on the width, and the circular thickness is supposed to be 98.2, and we're like 84 on the land. This land here is like 66, and we still have quite a bit to narrow this thing up. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and feed in $20, $25. I'm going to go 25. We're going to cut 2 root passes, and then we're going to bring that tooth up to the top here, and we're going to compare that tooth to what we have for a sample and what's in the book. Okay, let's shut this off of here, and let's go ahead and pull our pin out of here, and let's bring our tooth up here. And this is the tooth right here. And let's look at the land. The land is about 66, 65. We're pretty close to that. We got like 62. Alright, now down at our depth, what do we have for the width here? Go there, and we're like 97. I'm liking that dimension right there. Okay, we're comparing this to our sample here, and we are within a thousandth as far as taking our veneers and measuring our land on the top. And we have set our veneers to the width here and the depth, and we are within a thousand. We're about a thousandth by my magnifying glass here, and we're at like 97. We're supposed to be like 98 on the width there. Our total depth here matches our gear here. And I'm not going to take a chance on going any deeper because I know we'll make it even a little bit narrower as far as the tooth width at the working pitch line. I'm happy with this width and thickness here, and I'm going to let this fly. So we're going to rotate this on around and get this back into position here, and we're going to continue on with our setting. Okay, so that was that tooth there. Those two teeth are done, and we're just going to be going right on to our next tooth, and we're going to continue our way around for our second pass, which will complete this gear. Couple things that I like to practice when you are cutting gear: making sure you go all the way to where you know that you're going past it, so you don't leave a high spot on one side because you're in a little hurry to get it back. Alright? Also, give yourself clearance. And then, I've got a little light here. If I didn't have this one, I'd have a little flashlight or whatever. So you want to make sure that you're going right in there, and then you're also looking, and your next spot looks like it's in the right spot. Now, I physically eyeball that cut over that groove, but I also, as I bring this in, and as soon as I hear that touching, I steer at the end of my dial over here, and this is locked, and it'll be at the same exact spot. If I kind of touch there and it's early or premature of this spot, then I know that I'm slightly off, maybe a hole or something like that. I'm just barely. So then you can double check before you actually start engaging. Just a little tip. This is a lot of indexing, just a lot of times moving this around, and making one misjudgment can cost you the whole gear. Okay, we're getting ready. We're going for our very last tooth here. This is the last pass, 2 times around. I'm pretty happy with the way our engagement is, the way that this feels, also comparing it to the feel of the other gears. After we make this pass here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to find a couple PD wires that will fit in here. We're going to just try to get in and get close to a pitch measurement across here and across there, just kind of our own curiosity before we actually pull it out of the arbor and everything else. And right there would be our start point there, or our very first groove that we made. All right. Let's regroup, and we'll grab some wires and we'll get a measurement on this. All right, we've taken our gear tooth vernier calipers, which are basically just two vernier measurements of depth and width. All right, this is a classical tool, and it's not necessarily means that you're going to be more accurate. This is a convenience tool more so than anything else. I have taken and done the same thing. Measure the throat of your regular calipers, and then subtract what you're going to be wanting to measure as far as your gear tooth depth that you want to measure at, to get that dividing line of the addendum and the dedendum, and then just take a little bit of sticky to get that little rod to stick in here, and then you can just lower this down over the tooth. I just looked in my my cabinet for one of the rods that I had, and I couldn't find it, of course, but I use TIG rod or something like that, and I can grind the end of it so it's fairly real flat on the end. And you can actually use a pair of your regular digitals or whatever you want to use to get that measurement, so that you're down to the depth of the tooth, and you don't necessarily need this $1 million item. I thank my viewers very much for making this tool happen, and also the missing lock screw, all of that come into play, and I appreciate that very much. Otherwise I wouldn't have one. I would still be using my rod and regular caliper trick to get that dimension right there. All right, back. So we used our tool. We've used our regular calipers to check our depth, our outside diameter, our root dimension, and we're all within 2/1000ths. And I'm happy. I'm actually happy with this gear. I like to go one step farther. Now I know that the other two gears have got a little bit of wear, but what I like to do, and this is because this is also the thread wires, but you're measuring something that you need to know that contact of the angle, the pitch line, and getting that diameter at a standard. Now I'm not trying to get this as a standard, but I'm trying to find out that dimension of close to the working surface in relationship to a fixed diameter, comparing this one to the other two samples that I have. And I think, yeah, 1/8 rods here. I only need two because we're just going straight across. And this is, if it was an odd amount of teeth, I'd use 3. But it's even amount, so we can get two directly across from each other. And I've marked 2 areas here by marking my first one and then indexing exactly half. And when you line up straight across from there, eyeball, and there's a direct colored hole directly down below on the plate, and when you engage on that with the cutter over there, it kind of gave me where the other one was, and I went ahead and I marked it. So that's how I actually got straight across without pulling this thing out and putting the center finder. The other two gears I was able to put the center finder on and create those points. Okay, so what I do is I go ahead and I take and I get the anvil over that end there. Alright, and this kind of holds this in. I kind of pick this location here. Alright, and now we're able to go ahead and get a really good micrometer feel on here. And I'm measuring 5 inches, 84.5 thousandths. Alright, now let's go over to the other two I have on the hydraulic press here. And we're going to compare that to the originals, and that confirms my happiness with this gear here. Alright, I went ahead and I marked this straight across from each other on this side first because I could put the center finder across here. Boom, boom. There we go. And I transferred it over to this side so I can lay this down. This makes it a little easier to go ahead and put the pins in here. And I can just like lean them up a little bit. And then I can hold this and sneak them up on here. And then I'm able to go ahead and simulate the feel that I had over there. And I'm getting about 76 here, 5 inches 76. So we're about 3.5 thousandths smaller on this one than we are with the sample there. And this gear, or not the sample, the one we made is about 3.5 or 4 thousandths larger than that one as far as the pitch line. And I'm glad I got a rubber mat down here. They stay kind of from traveling around when you drop them. And this one here I'm getting about 77 and 8/10, almost 78. So this is only a couple thousandths under the sample. So by having 3 different ways of measuring my gear, comparing to the sample to what I actually cut out there and falling within a couple thousandths in all dimensions, tooth width, overall outside, root, circle, and then close to the pitch line. By this, this is probably this is like 3/4 of the way up on the addendum, but it's still in on the working diameter. I could probably go to a smaller pin, but I'll be getting real close to the outside there, which, you know, I think I'm close enough with my method here of double checking my work. I'm happy. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to pull that out of the machine. We're going to go in the other room and we're going to take a grinder and we're going to grind not just down to the root. We're going to get down into the gum of things here. Alright, you want to get down in here, you want to be joining some braze material. One of the biggest mistakes is to just barely try to stick the braze on top of your material there. Let's get down and let's join some serious material so that the brass has got a bond down into the gum of things, down into the meat here. Alright, so we're going to be taking that one out. We're going to take that brass tooth out and the next one to it. That's got a chip on it right there. We could go ahead and grab that one there as well. So we'll get 3 of them in a row there. I mean, while we're at it, let's go for it. I mean, you know, that's chunky, you know. This one here, we can go. That one there, that one's chipped. So I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teeth. We're gonna take out of here. Okay, we're just unscrewing this. We know that we're resting against the jaws here. We're gonna back this off of here, and we're gonna go ahead and we need to rotate it around here. And here's our chuck wrench. Alright, we're going to pull this gear off, and we're going to go ahead and put the other gear on here, and then we're going to take it into the welding room, our welding area, and we'll start grinding and prepping the other gear.